Hey, what's going on everybody? Alex here with Freedom Mowers. I hope you all are doing well. Got a chainsaw on the bench today. Got a Makita EA 3200S. I don't know a lot about this machine. I had a person that had bought a mower from me reach out and ask if I could take a look at their chainsaw, and they said that they had another saw for me. I'll show you guys that in another video. It is a Shindawa, and he said if I could get this thing going for him, he would give it to me for free. So this has been sitting since the beginning of the season last year, and he said it didn't have that many hours on it, but it's been under an overhang sitting outside, and he tried to put some fresh gas in it a few days ago and it would not start up. So first thing that I noticed right off the bat is that the primer bulb is split, so we'll be changing that out in the very least. And I'm gonna go on a limb and say that the diaphragm could be a little crunchy, so we're gonna go ahead and dive into this, see if we can, I guess we'll check for spark, make sure all the normal stuff's going on, and then we'll probably be diving into the carburetor as well as getting this primer bulb changed out. So let me get y'all on the tripod, let's get started. I did want to mention that I tried to start this saw, and when I started pushing the primer bulb is when I realized that it was already cracked, so really not going to get a whole lot of prime action going. Yeah, so to take this one apart, it has this little cap here on the top. We gotta pop this out, and then I have my steel branded tool to take out the upper screw here on the hood. That loosened up, and we are inside. And right off the bat, we'll go ahead and see if we've got spark. Good Lord. It's got an NGK plug in here. Filter doesn't look too bad. Get that cage off, it just has a little tab on the bottom that lifts up. And then our filter, I'll get that all cleaned up as well. I got you guys on this little flimsy card table here. Golly. Plug doesn't look too bad. Maybe a little, running a little rich. I don't know whether they might not have been running this up to full RPM or what. We definitely don't want a bunch of stuff falling down in the cylinder, so. Clean out some of that dust. So that's off, that's on. Yeah, we got a good spark. Y'all probably can't tell from there, but got a good spark. Not gonna bother checking compression yet on this. I mean, this is a pretty new saw. It just looks like it was gotten a bit dirty. All right, let me see. So, as far as I know, we've got these two screws on the bottom that should take our air box loose. I'm gonna take these out. I am not familiar with this kind of saw, so I'm trying to figure this out as I go along. So that's for our air box, and now we are at the carburetor here. So I can go ahead and take the lines loose. So our upper one goes to the short leg on the primer bulb. The bottom one goes to the longer leg. And then we've just got two tabs on the side to squeeze. I'll go ahead and try to get this loose. There we go. The primer bulb is out. Yeah, that whole end is coming right off. Let me put my headlamp on so y'all can see a little bit. Let me go grab a primer bulb. I should have some of these in my drawer. All right, I've got a new one here. I was looking at them just to make sure they were the same. So we can go ahead and put this one back in. Like I was saying, you've got a shorter side and then you've got a longer side. So longer side is going to the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and feed the lines on there and then press it into place. And now they're fed on there. Slip that into place. Primer bulb is replaced. So let me throw the air box on here real quick. We'll take it outside and see if it was just the primer bulb or if we're gonna have to go farther in the system here. All right, so on this one, we go all the way up. That's choke. I did put the air filter and cage back on here. Give it a few primes, see what it does. Kicked right over. Put it into run. Did kick over. I don't want to prime it too many times and flood it. Try a couple more pulls and then let's dive into this carburetor. Well, we know the primer bulb is working, so just gotta take these screws back out. All right, take those out. Just gonna take the whole piece off as one. There is a line on the top. There's an orange line closer to the engine, and then we've got this black line going to the forward fitting. So we'll just go ahead and take these off from here. And let's see. Looks like, which one? The throttle cable or throttle lever went to this hole right here. I guess it just slides right in the handle. Yeah. All right, so we'll set that back in there and let's pop this bottom open and take a look at this diaphragm. Guy told me that he thought this saw had like less than 5 hours on it, but this thing is just caked with oil, muck. I mean, the inside doesn't look too bad, but it definitely looks like it's been kind of put through the ringer. So we've got just these two screws on the bottom. Let's see what we're working with here. So we've got our gasket. I don't see any chunks right off the bat. Can you guys hear that? This thing is crunchy. I can almost guarantee that's what the problem is right there. Diaphragm is just totally dried up, dehydrated. I'll probably take the other side off too, and we'll just blow some compressed air around. I mean, it doesn't look that dirty. So let me check on this, and then we'll take the other side off and get it blown out, and we'll see what happens with the new diaphragm. All right, I do have another one here. It's not exactly the same as far as the outline, but if you look on the bottom of these, some of them have a raised basically spot in the center of it, and that's what actually pushes on your arm that opens the needle and seat. So some of them have the long one and some of them have the almost flat one. This one is the almost flat, so this should work just fine. We'll go ahead and pop the other side off, and I've got some carb spray. We'll just run some carb spray through it or over it, and then I'll just hit it with some compressed air and we will reassemble. Yeah, this thing looks super clean. Normally if you're gonna see anything, most time it's gonna be on this side in that screen, and that looks spotless. So just go ahead and hit it a little bit with some carb spray through the screen. You can go through all these ports. I think it's just gonna be that diaphragm, because it's just, if the diaphragm is stiff, it's not gonna pump any fuel, because that's what runs off from that pulse, and it won't pump any fuel if it's stiff. It's supposed to be pliable. All right. Let me hit a little compressed air through here real quick off camera, and then we'll put this back together. All right, I've got it blown out. I did forget to say to y'all too, on this top plate, there is this basically like little plastic piece, and this is a valve. These little flaps here are valves. You just want to make sure that they're flat and they're not like stuck up or down, because they are just little basically valves. So everything looks good on here. I got this thing all cleaned up, so we will go ahead and get this reassembled. So that side is good. Now we have gasket, then we have our diaphragm. You guys can see, I'm gonna get this all lined up. There is a little tab on that lid that's gonna help us line it up. There's this little hook right here, and that actually goes onto this top corner. Not the screw hole, but there's that other hole right there. And then we are sitting pretty good right there. So I'll go ahead and get these screws started, torque these down, and we can start putting this carburetor back in. This is the majority of the time what normally happens with most two-stroke stuff. Your primer bulbs go bad, your fuel lines dry rot, diaphragms get hard and crispy, and that's pretty much the cause of a lot of equipment just getting thrown away. But this is all good, so let me get y'all set up where you can see everything, and we're gonna get this carb back in. I have confidence that it's gonna crank up, and we'll just have to do a little bit of tuning, and we'll have this thing running top notch again. I guess what we'll start with is getting this throttle linkage hooked back up, and then we'll kind of just get this into place. There is the orange line in the back, so we'll fit that orange line back on. Our throttle, just making sure that that's still in place. Then we have this line go on this front one here. Make sure we're still hooked up on the primer bulb. And then we've got this upper line here, and that is on. And then there's, it looks like there's just some little indents basically where the carburetor meets up with the intake manifold. Alright, I think we should be all set there. I did go ahead off camera and I blew off the air filter. It does have a little bit of oil staining on it, but no more dust or debris. So that should be all set. We are in place. Everything is hooked up. So we'll drop these little rubber pads down. Put our screws in. I'm just gonna get these snugged up and then we'll take this outside and see if it'll start. All right, we will go ahead and choke it. I've got my little screwdriver out here because now that we've messed with the diaphragm, more than likely I'll have to adjust the low side on the carburetor, but we'll see. So let's give it a whirl. Sounded like it kicked over. Just trying to get this dialed in a little bit here. I think it was actually running too rich right off the bat, so I leaned it out, and now it's running just a little too lean, so I'm trying to find that balance. Seems like that's pretty good. We'll go ahead and get it shut down. Let's see if it'll start right back up now in idle. Awesome. Well, I will go ahead and think at this point I'm gonna go ahead and just start cleaning this up a little bit. I'm gonna check this chain. I think it's pretty sharp, but it's very loose, so I am gonna adjust that, check the oil in it, and we'll just kind of go from there. We'll make a couple test cuts with it, and that's when you'll know for sure too, because you may have to adjust the high speed on the actual cutting, but we'll get to that. So it sounds pretty good. Crank it up just one more time, and then we will move forward. All right, well, I've got it cleaned up a bit. Got the chain tightened up. Should have pretty good tension on there, not too tight. Yeah, got my screwdriver with me, and we'll make a couple tweaks if we need to, but hopefully we got this thing dialed in. The teeth were nice and sharp on this still, so we'll make some cuts. So if you guys like this kind of content, let me know. I appreciate everybody checking out the channel. We got a ton of stuff coming up. I do have quite a few saws that we're going to be working on as well. So I've got a huge tree out there in the back that I've got to cut, but it's not going to be today. But I do have this old, I think, utility pole, and we'll just make a couple test cuts with this. I was checking over to make sure we didn't have any nails in it, and without further ado, let's see if it'll cut. That thing is pulling good. I had no problem with that. All right, well, I think we got the saw running pretty good. I appreciate y'all checking out the channel as always. If you do like this kind of content, maybe think about hitting that subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I also love hearing from you guys in the comment section. So I've got lots of saws coming up, and we've got tons of other stuff. There's I don't know, something over here y'all might see peeking in the back. We got all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of secrets I've been holding out on, so stay tuned. We got lots of fun stuff coming up, and look forward to hearing from you guys. So on that note, let freedom ring, let those small engines sing. I'll see you all next time.